Hello! I'm just creating this video because recently I shared with you guys my Corvette I made, the Undependable. And I got a fair few comments of people asking for a tutorial or a blueprint or something so that they could recreate the ship themselves. And I figured I would make like a little video tutorial so people can either recreate the ship in its entirety, or say if they just like the engines they can recreate that, or if they just want this little bridge section they can redo that, etc. So I'm going to break this up into parts, starting with the base of the ship, the cockpit, moving on to the bridge, and then finally doing the engines and this little rear section here. And I will separate the video into chapters, so you can easily just jump to the part of the ship that you'd like to recreate on your Corvette, or you can watch it through entirely and see how the full thing is made from the ground up. So without further ado, let's get into recreating the Undependable. Okay, so to start with, we need the mag-field landing thrusters. So place one of them. And on top of that we will need a Thunderbird-CLASS HAB, a 1x2, followed by the Thunderbird-CLASS Landing Bay, which is misnamed because I don't think it actually matches the aesthetic, but it's okay. And then the Thunderbird-CLASS Walkway. And on top of that we'll add another 1 and 2 for the greenhouse and living quarters. Same at the front for the stairwells, and we have a third one on the side here for the captain's quarters and another one for the bridge. And then finally fill in with another 2-length habitats there. And move down, we use the TITAN-CLASS cockpit, one of those just on the front here. And then the final landing gear, we use the Thunderbird landing thrusters. So one on this side here, and another one on that side there. So yeah, that is the pretty much the skeleton of the ship. The rest of it is just sort of guff added on for style. So first section, the cockpit area. So to create the cockpit, we go across and we want to grab these engine covers. We'll need 4 of these. Flip it up, do one there, across the other side, one there, and one there. And then to finish up at the rear, we use the little fuel pod covers. So across again. Oop, can I make it bloody flips? Right, there we go. So one there, and other side, one there, and one there. And finally we use the SPEEDBIRD fairing, which goes just on top here. You will notice it is covering this bit of the cockpit. However, when you're in the cockpit you really don't notice it. It just looks like a flat ceiling, so don't need to worry about that. And that is how we get the cockpit design. Next we'll move on to the captain's quarters. For the captain's quarters, we need to grab these seamless windows. We need 3 of these. One on the side, one on the front, and one on the other side. And then you can see in there, there's where our little captain's desk is going to go in there. And creates a really nice panoramic view when sort of drifting through space or on a planet trying to spot things. Very nice. Now, we'll create the domed roof for this part of the building. You notice if you just try and snap these dome sections on, sorry, so say this is the SPEEDBIRD dome section. If you try and snap these on, they want to snap to the habitats, like in line with them, no matter how you rotate it. So we'll need to use a bit of a glitch in the building system to offset these. So to do that, we want to multiply, we want to duplicate this habitat, and build it, ooh, it lets me, build it across, build 2 of them, and then we need to grab a ducting outlet, or really any of these should do, but I just prefer the ducting outlet, and we'll put that on the front there. Yeah, so on the front. Then we grab this habitat module, and then we can reposition it connected to this ducting outlet, which lets us offset it. So in this case we want it to go from the front and we want it to go diagonally, so we want it to go now onto the side. So that brings the block forward and across. So if we duplicate that and now build back across, you can see that the corner of this block is now in line with the center of this block, which then lets us go back to the Speedbird dome, and now we can snap it on here and then snap the next one onto the previous section, and we have a nice smooth front on the top of the ship. So next we want to add the satellite dish and the antenna. So we go back to this block we've offset, and it wants to be slightly raised, so if we instead move the little ducting from the side onto the bottom like this, that now raises the block up. So if we build across with this, you'll now see that it's sort of pushed into the habitat below, but offset from it. So we'll want one there, and then if we get this bit again, we want another block which is vertically in line with this one, but horizontally in line with this one. To do that, we want to take this block and we need to grab the ROCKHOPPER propeller module. You'll notice if when you try and connect this, if you connect it on the left hand side of the ship, it only has one connection point. It only can be in line with the habitat module. However, if we flip it and put it on this side, it's got 3 connection points. It's got one at the middle, one at the front, and another one at the back. So if we push this towards the back, we can then grab the habitat module and we can snap it to these connection points on the propeller. So we can bring it back half a block. And now, if we build back across with it, it is, like we said, in line vertically with this block and horizontally with this block. And it's perfect for what we need. So we just delete that, leave that there for now. We'll need that for offsetting some more bits in the future. So now I've got these two, we can go across to the satellite receiver and the antennas. So the satellite receiver wants to go on the rear of these two blocks, and then the antenna wants to go on the forward one. So with them placed, we can now get rid of those two. And then we can go back to the Speedbird Nacelle, and we can pop one there, and mirror it, and one there. And that is the general vibe of the roof done. I just added a final touch with the STREAMLINED TRIM CAP, just connected to the middle top of the habitat here. Just to give it a little extra bit of decoration. Okay, so finishing around the back, I want to go down and get the ALBATROSS side pod. Back down there. And then we need 2 ARGONAUT AEROFOILs. They need to be one on this side, just like complete the line with the window and make it a bit more streamlined, and mirror that around, and one there. So looking pretty good. Our final step is building the little semicircular dome that we have underneath here. So to start that, we'll want the swept casing, one back on the front, flipped, so it's sloping upwards, and then we will use 2 of the fuel pod covers to create a nice little semicircle. Again, you'll notice it does not want to snap here, so we'll need to reuse this block over here to misalign it with the main grid, so we can get it where we want it to be. So we want this block to be in line vertically with these, but offset slightly to the right. So if we just build this across, we'll see it's in line already. So we want it to be moved in, but also doing that has offsetting horizontally with the rest of the ship. So we'll grab this bit, move it out of the way, grab our propeller again, pop it on there, and now we can bring this forward back in line with the grid, like so. Then now we duplicate this down, build across, and we now have a nice area to connect our fuel pod to. So go back to a fuel pod cover, and we can pop that just there. Move this block out of the way, and there. And move that. So then that is the front of the ship pretty much done. Okay, so next we're moving on to the engines. So to create these, we'll first want to go down and get a couple of these ZENITH-CLASS reactors. Need one here and one there. And then grab this Thunderbird module and build out again so we can begin offsetting the build. I'll grab a ducting outlet, put this on top of a module, and then we can bring the module up so that ducting is on the side, like so. Once we've done that, we can build back across, and this will give us an offset module, like so. So we can grab one of these Thunderbird reactors, duplicate it, and then we can copy those across like this. So we've got 4 of them sort of smushed in together. Next, we'll need to offset this a bit more. So to do that, we want it to be offset half a block to the side, but still in line with these. So like we did before, we'll move it so it is now half a block off, but again it's been moved vertically back or horizontally backwards. So like we did with the front, we'll grab one of these ROCKHOPPER modules, put it on the right hand side of the block. Then when we pick it up, we can move it half a block forwards, so now it's back in line with the other ones. So now when we build across, it'll build like this. So now we can put a block in the middle here. For that middle spot, I like to put the AZIMUTH-CLASS reactor, which gives us a little bit more pulse drive efficiency and launch cost, and enables automatic recharging. So we can sneak that in there, and we'll use that later for connecting on the engines on the wing pieces. So get rid of all those, and we can start adding on the trim around this engine. To start with, we will use the ARGONAUT HYDRAULICS. Put one of those there. And then we need to grab the SPEEDBIRD NACELLE. So we get one here, flip it, one there, one there, flip it, and one there. Okay, then going back to engines, there's a few engines we use. We use the Ambassador single thruster, 2 of them. We use the big KINEOSTREAM thruster, a couple of the twin dynamo jets, and the PYRODRIVE booster. So the twin dynamo jets are the ones that go on the wings. Obviously if you try and put them on now, they'll just want to snap to those bits of trim we put on. So to put them where we want, we'll just grab this little habitat here, and we will snap it, connecting to this reactor in the middle, so it is in line like this. And put another one on this side there. And that now lets us put the twin dynamo jets in the middle of the wings, and then we can just delete these blocks to have them nicely situated there. Okay, next we want to add the large Ambassador sublight thrusters. So to get them in position, we will grab one of these little habitats down here, duplicate it again, and we want to bring this up so it's sitting halfway in the top of this reactor on the top here. Then we can go back, we can grab our Ambassador sublight thrusters, put one there, and the other one on this side here, and we can delete this block, and that has them nicely connected into the ship there. Okay, next we'll do the lower thruster. This is another offset build. So for this one, we want to duplicate another block, move it out like so, and this one just needs moving horizontally half a block. So we can do that by just using the ROCKHOPPER module by itself. So same as before, build it like so, and then move this block offset halfway. Get rid of that. Now we can build back across like so. So on that block we want to connect the PYRODRIVE booster, make sure it is connected to the block we want, like so. And we can remove that block, these two, and then to fill in this gap we just get one of these coolant distributors. So put that in the little gap, like so. And that gives us some nice pipe work on the thruster as well. Last bit to do, besides the main booster, obviously, which is just one of these Zenith boosters positioned on the reactor there, so it's in the middle of that. Last bits is just this bit of trim at the bottom here, which is the same design we did on the front here. So if I just grab this sloped bit, so I'll put that there, and again we'll want the offset block again, so we can position the little semicircular domes. So using the ducting outlet like we've done before, we want this one to be moved halfway in, so we'll put the ducting outlet on the side, move the block so that it is on the front of it, like so. Get rid of that, and then we want to use one of the ROCKHOPPER module propellers again to move that block back, so like so, and move it back in line. Ooh. Deleted the wrong bit there. Put one of those back. Deleting that is not part of the tutorial, don't do that. Okay. So cross, whoop, down, like so. So now I've got the perfect little building block to put on the fuel pod cover. So same as we did for the front. Rotate it around, flip it, delete, 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 and another one there, like so. And that is the back almost finished. We just need to put little fuel rods on the back there. And that is the design of the engine complete. Okay, so last thing to do is just the bit of trim along the side here. So it's just a streamline cap there, followed by 2 streamline trim, 1 and 2. And same again on the other side, 1, 2, and the cap. And then last little bits of detail, I've got an air purifier on the top here, and then we put another one, which you might not have seen, just on the bottom here, just to add a bit more texture to the bottom side of the ship. You can put one here if you really want, however it does have a bit of a wonky hitbox, so you might run into it when trying to access the cargo ramp. So I think it's better just to leave that bit blank so you've got a nice easy access. And overall, that is the exterior of the ship complete. All we need to do left to do is to... oh, no. Missing the weapons. Apologies. So, the weapons I've got equipped is the photon cannon array on this side, and then the phase beam array on this side, but obviously the weapons are entirely up to you guys. I think I also managed to sneak a couple torpedo launchers snapped into these blocks in there. Yes, yeah, in there. So they're quite hidden because the torpedoes are a bit... they're not very nice looking, but you can hide them away so you have access to the torpedo weapons without having them be really visible. So it's nice to have them hidden away in there. But yeah, that is the general exterior of the ship complete. All I have to do is to paint it, and in my case I use the cream and green colour scheme applied to the whole ship, except for the engine, which is a nice red colour to highlight it a bit more. Now, unfortunately I can't show you how to recreate the interior exactly, but I can show you where I put all the modules that I used. So this little back room, we used 4 of these, where are they? These bits, so got 0 there, 1 there, 2, and 3. So that gives us 4 little cargo storage areas. Then we have our mission radar on this side, and then I've got a refiner unit on this side. And then in the middle here we will have our stairs. So all of them facing this way, we'll just do all of them now. One there, and one final one here up to the little bridge area. So go back down. So this is the cargo area. Next one we had is the greenhouse. So we'll do one living wall here, one living wall here. We have another two in the back here and here. And then we have a panelled window. One there and one there. Give you a nice view out. I like with these windows, when the ships land you can actually see the little landing gear popped there. And then obviously when it's in flight they tilt back, so it gives you an even clearer view out the window. So going up, we've got this little crew quarters here. We've got 1, 2 beds. And then I've got a nutrition unit just here. And then this little bit of the back I made into a medical bay with one medipod there. If we go. Last room is the captain's quarters, so just one bed on this side. And then we'll see the desk and everything that I put in here. So then after that it is really just up to you to position bits and pieces as you'd like them. I did have one guy asking how I got the rug hung on this wall in the captain's quarters, so I can quickly show you that. So if we go across, it's the opulent tapestry. Obviously if you just try and put it on the wall, it like clips through the pipes and it doesn't look very good. So a good trick for that is to grab one of these circle patterned rugs, put that on the wall first, and go back, grab the tapestry again. If we give it a bit of a rotate until we get it how we want it, shrink it down a little bit, like so, and then if we delete that rug, the tapestry is now hung slightly away from the wall, so it's not clipping into everything, except those balls, but yeah, we can't get rid of them. So that is that. The only other thing people did mention was the bits of stuff I had stacked up in this lift room, leant against the walls. So if we go back, I had one of these oversized spools. So obviously if you just try and put them on the wall, they stay horizontal. You've got to rotate them around. But again, obviously you can't get them exactly how you want them to be like positioned against the wall. So again, we can grab one of these mats, or really any flat object, or one of them. So grab one of them and go back down to this spool and rotate it. It's a bit difficult working locked in first person, but you can get the hang of it. Obviously that isn't quite where I want it. I want it to be pivoted a bit further back, like that. Try that, like that. No, a little bit more. Try there. And that looks pretty much perfect. So you can delete this rug. That has a spool a bit better positioned, and also then I had like a little one of these railings just to be sized. Just put in front there for the spool to be resting against. But it's just a case of aligning things and moving them around just how you want them to look exactly. So yeah, once you've done all that, you should be able to transform it into something that looks like this. So this is all just stuff that I've just placed manually and tweaked around using the carpets and other various things, just to like get them positioned how I want them. Like for these, this pallet here, I just stacked them up in the wall. I think if you try and place one on the wall, it sinks in quite a bit. So it's just a case of like stacking them over and over and then deleting until I got it positioned just how I wanted, so it looked like it was leaning there. Similar with this big pile in the back here. It's just a case of like twisting the boxes and the rugs to get like a good look. We walk back through, used the rug to angle that wire so it looks like it's leaning on this one. The only other thing worth noting is the further you get away from the landing gear, the less you can shrink items down. I did ideally want to have like this on the desk, but if you try and grab it and shrink it down to be like desk size, you'll quickly find that like that it's out of base range and you can't make it as small as you'd like it to be. So you've just got to keep that in mind when you're customizing things. So you can, obviously the closer you are to the landing gear, the smaller you can make stuff. So if you wanted to have this like a wire, you can make it as tiny as you want and the game has no issue, but as soon as you start getting away from that landing gear, like there, it's out of range, you can't do it. So yeah, that is pretty much the general gist of the ship. So if you follow this very janky tutorial with your properly stuck through, you will be able to build your own version of the Undependable. Thank you for watching. Apologies for this video being kind of crap. I have never done anything like this before. Thank you.